It's often difficult when you're left dealing with the situation where your ex suddenly pulls away. So today, I'd like to actually discover why. Why is it that when things seemingly are going so well with your ex, they're talking to you, you're talking to them, it seems like the reattraction process has begun, do they suddenly pull away? And you're left racking your mind trying to understand, what did I do wrong? Did I say something that screwed things up? Well, this video is going to hopefully bridge the gap so that you understand why your ex is pulling away from you. So I guess probably the easiest place to start off when talking about this topic is first by discussing how this usually doesn't ever happen at first. Most of our clients who are serious about going through the program, trying to get their exes back, they have no problem doing a no contact rule. They have no problem initiating contact with their ex. The problem really lies when they get into conversations with their ex and when things seemingly are going well. Their ex suddenly pulls away without really much of an explanation. So let's tackle the very first question you're sitting there and probably wondering. Well, why? Why do exes suddenly pull away? So we have an unfair advantage here on the YouTube channel. To date, I think we've gotten over 10 million viewers. We've had tens of thousands of people buy our programs. We've had thousands of people coach with us. We got a lot of data. We know a lot about people when they're going through breakups and their exes. So ultimately, from an attachment style perspective, and you hear me talk about this a lot on the YouTube channel and on the podcast and on the articles, we find that most of the time our clients tend to have more anxious attachment styles, where their exes tend to have more avoidant attachment styles. And what's interesting is oftentimes this is one of the primary causes for why the breakup occurred in the first place. Usually it is the anxious traits that drive an avoidant nuts to where they pull away or put the wall up or fight or flight. They just basically leave. So you need to understand, going into conversing with an ex, most likely your ex is going to have avoidant tendencies, whereas you are going to have anxious tendencies. So what are anxious tendencies? Well, anxious tendencies can be things like begging for your ex back, pleading for your ex back, obsessing about what your ex is posting on social media or who they're dating. And oftentimes this obsession comes into you asking, hey, have you gone on a date with anyone? Things like that. Worrying constantly about the fact that your ex isn't going to be coming back. And also you have these crazy pendulum swings of emotion where one minute you were okay and the next minute you were completely not okay. Now, what's important to note here is that all of those sort of anxious traits are really normal for how most people react after a breakup. Most people who don't want a breakup to occur will beg for their ex back at first. Most people who are going through a breakup will have these crazy pendulum swings of emotion where they're really hot and they're really cold and they're really hot again. Those things last a little bit longer, let's say. And as weird as it sounds, in conversations with an ex, if you do something that reminds them of these anxious tendencies, they pull away. Real quick, I want to say that if you're new to this YouTube channel or you're trying to figure out what you should be doing to get your ex back and you're trying to learn if you even have a chance in your specific circumstance, probably the smartest thing for you to do is actually stop by our website, www.exboyfriendrecovery.com, or take our Ex Recovery Chances quiz that can be found at exboyfriendrecovery.com. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, taking that free quiz is super easy to do. All you have to simply do is look in the description link below this YouTube video and click on the link you see there. It will take you directly to the quiz where you can fill it out and get an easy answer on what you should be doing going forward and overall what your chances look like in your specific situation. All right, so let's get you back to the video. So the obvious question you're having at this point is, well, maybe I've done some of that, Chris, but how? How do I fix it so that that doesn't happen? Well, you need to kind of understand the law of gravity. I've always viewed gravity as this sort of law of physics that really describes the relationship between larger objects and smaller objects. Now, I know I'm getting kind of technical and sciencey here, but just bear with me. So generally speaking, The larger object has a field of gravity. This is why all human beings, when they jump up and down, they come back down to the earth. Because whether we realize it or not, the third rock from the sun, the earth, is a very large rock and it has a very large gravity plane. Now, this is important because it will help describe the relationship between attachment styles. So what's interesting with attachment styles is we've noticed that when we try to indicate to people, hey, you need to get rid of your anxious attachment style, you need to kind of improve that, we don't really see much of a jump. Instead, if we reframe the question though as you need to try to become more secure, exhibit more secure attachment styles, we kind of notice a gravity form. And what I mean by that is, generally speaking, if a really avoidant person like your ex is in a relationship with someone who exhibits secure attachment style tendencies, guess what happens? That avoidant attachment style tendency begins to veer more towards the secure attachment style tendencies. In other words, by simply being more secure yourself, you can actually help influence your ex to change their attachment style so that they are easier to open up to you. But this is where sort of the rubber meets the road, so to speak. Most people who are extremely anxious are not going to have an easy time being secure. Think of it like this. Someone who is secure with themselves after a breakup will allow themselves time to grieve, but they will also know in the back of their mind, the world isn't over. They're going to find someone new. That in and of itself, that concept, that idea that they're going to be okay, that they can find someone else, they can find maybe someone better than their ex, that optimism is lacking within anxious attachment style personalities. Because for an anxious attachment style personality, they're going to look at their ex as the be-all end-all. So your number one goal, if you want to get rid of your ex pulling away, is weirdly enough focusing on yourself so that you are more optimistic about your prospects outside of your ex. I'm often saying, the girl who's willing to lose the guy will get the guy. This is a direct correlation to attachment styles, specifically to secure attachment styles. What you're looking for is to be the gravity that pulls not just your ex, but all other people who have more difficult attachment styles towards the mean, which is you. You want everyone around yourself to be secure, and you can be the change that sparks that. So the number one thing I see that causes exes to be pulled away is you exhibiting anxious behaviors, begging, pleading, crazy pendulum swings of emotion. And the weird way that you can solve this problem is by first focusing on your attachment style, on becoming more secure. And weirdly enough, the best place or best time to do this is during a no contact rule. This is kind of the secret sauce of what we teach during no contact. Most of the time, people are talking about the no contact rule as this thing that will help make their ex miss them. When in reality, it should be a thing that helps you shift your attachment style so that you are more secure, not just with yourself, but with your life. Now, if you're interested in learning the best place to start with your ex, you should probably first figure out if you have even a good chance of getting them back. And luckily for you, on our website, www.exboyfriendrecovery.com, I've put together a special quiz designed to do just this for you. All you have to do if you want to take the quiz is simply look in the description link below this YouTube video and click it. It's that simple. Also, if you haven't liked, commented, and subscribed, that would be a good time to do that. I'll see you next time.